that Brooke was not going to be here, I'd have brought the one with snakes on it. But I was afraid if I held up one that had snakes on it, she would run quickly out of the room. But, it's not much. It's a little staff. I've been working out lately, so it's not bad. So don't worry about it. In the book of Exodus, the 17th chapter, we find where it says, then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim. And Moses said unto Joshua, choose us out men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on top of the hill with the rod of God in my hand. So Joshua did as Moses said to him and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went to the top of the hill. Came to pass when Moses held up his... Charlie, come here. Hold that. Just hold that in there for a minute. Just hold it up. There you go. When Moses came to pass, when Moses held up his hand, that Israel prevailed, and when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands were heavy. So they took a stone, put it under him. He sat thereon, and Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, the one on one side, the other on the other side. His hands were steady until the going down of the sun. Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. The Lord said unto Moses, write this for memorial in the book, rehearse it to the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Moses stood up, and he knew that he had to hold that staff up in order for them to succeed in battle. And it became apparent to Aaron and Hur, whenever that staff went down, the battle turned against them. And so they, as they saw Moses weary, they did what was needed. Charlotte. Thanks for helping. You can let it go. But you think about that, and actually, my arm was getting tired. You hold something out, and you realize how weary it can get. And you think about what happened with Moses, with Aaron, with Hur, and their battle against Amalek. And you realize that today we're in a battle. 1 Peter 5 and verse 8, the devil is a roaring lion. He goeth about seeking whom he may devour. And he wants you and I. And we, if we hold fast to that which God has given us, we're going to overcome. But sometimes, just like holding that out, you get a little tired, don't you? The Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 58, he said, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. But being that steadfast individual takes a toll upon every single one of us. And as I look back and I see Moses and Aaron and Hur, I think of the lessons that I can learn. We need leaders in our life. We need leaders in the Lord's church. We need leaders in every aspect of our life who will hold up, who will be the encouragers. Can you imagine those who were fighting the battle as they looked up and they saw Moses standing up there, and there Aaron and Hur with him, but he was standing up there as an encourager, as a strengthener, as a comforter. And we ourselves, we're told in Hebrews, the 3rd chapter, in verse 13, sometimes we think about being leaders and it's only elders, right? No. Hebrews 3 and verse 13, we're to exhort one another daily while it's called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. That sin works on us. The world does. And we need each other. Hebrews, the 10th chapter, verse 23 and following, we're to provoke one another unto love and good works. We are to be there for one another, just as Aaron and Hur were for Moses. But we need to determine, too, I can be a leader. I can be a leader in a Bible class. I can be a leader in the family. I can be a leader in my friends' circle. Everywhere around, I can be one that people look up to. The Apostle Paul said in the Philippian letter in chapter 3, mark those who walk so as examples. We think about Paul. Follow me as I follow Christ. And whenever he wrote those in Philippi, he says, I'm not the only one. Mark others who walk so as we. For example, I can be that one. But I don't care who you are. I don't care what your point is in life, where you've grown to. You need to realize that you need help from other ones. We can't stand on our own without help from others. God said, that's why I've given you one another. You look and you find in the book of 1 Corinthians, the 16th chapter, the Apostle Paul said he was glad for the coming of Stephanas, Fortunus, and Achaeus, because they have refreshed my spirit and yours. You know what that word refresh means? Give a rest so you can go on with your labors later on. You see, I go as far as I can, you go as far as you can, and sometimes we need a little break. You know, give a brother a hand. I mean, gives a lift up, a pull up. And that's what Aaron and Hur did to Moses. And Moses didn't say, no, I don't need anything. He was there. They put a rock under him. He sat down. They grabbed his arms. He let them do it and lift them up. We need to be willing not only to stand up for what we can, but to look and be ready to receive help from others. And we need to be ready to give help. We need to be encouragers, comforters, those who will stand up. Sometime look at that word refreshed in the New Testament, and you'll find several instances where it was there and the blessing that is given. We're fighting a battle. 1 Peter 5:8, the devil wants us to grow weary in well-doing. Paul warns against that in the Galatian letter. But in Galatians 6, verse 1 and 2, he says, brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such a one. So here I am. I haven't looked for help, maybe as I should in the times that I've gone on in the days. And so I come, and I'm getting to the point that I've fallen. God says, you spiritual individuals, lift up his hands. Raise him up. Step up and give him the things that he needs to be restored. And then in verse 2, bear ye one another's burdens. That tells me there's not a single one of us that's above needing or giving this help. So you look back, you read in Exodus 17, and you stand amazed at the battle that went God's way, of course, but you realize the part that individuals played in it. There were those out fighting the battle. There was Moses standing up. There was Aaron and Hur who were holding up his hands, providing him a rest. Every one of us, as we said Sunday, has a place in the body of Christ. But we need to make sure that it's together. So if you need help, look for it. If you see others that need help, provide it. But realize that we're in this battle together. We can't simply discard our responsibilities or our privileges. So no matter where you are, determine to be the helper. We teach the song, a helper I will be. Well, maybe us older folks need that quite a bit too. And whenever we look at that, I said God knows that we can't make it alone. And that's, some people say, well, wait a minute. You mean I can't make it without you? Well, I don't want to try it. But the reality is, I could if I had to. If all men turned away, Jesus is still there. I got a friend that's unbelievable. He'll never leave me nor forsake me. He says, I'm with you till the end of the world. So he is there to provide, to strengthen, to comfort. So I need to go to him. But I'm so thankful that I'm part of a congregation where we can have one another. So tonight, where are you? Maybe you need to, first of all, get into the battle. The devil, he's a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. He's looking for those that he does not have. So if you're not a child of God, tonight is the time to get away from the devil. To put that old man of sin to death, as spoken of in Romans 6, being baptized into Christ, into his death, and rising to walk in the newness of life. But realize that you've got help when you do that. And if you've slipped away, maybe you haven't asked for the help you need, tonight's the time to do that. If you're growing weary, we can provide the strength. But whatever your need may be, let's help one another to go to that goal that God has put before us as we stand and sing the song of invitation.